Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. It means a lot if you guys keep clicking. If you guys keep clicking, I'll keep making. And today we're going to talk about all things Chantel, but really mainly, is her move to vote out JD a good move or a bad move? All of her moves. We're going to just recap her entire game and just really go through the most dominant player on the season so far by a mile. Before we start, I'm doing my predictions and Power Rankings podcast tomorrow. It'll probably drop somewhere in the afternoon tomorrow. So Saturday afternoon, we'll watch out for that. If you're gonna be watching it live, talk to me in the comments. Maybe I'll be there. Maybe I won't. I don't know if I have time. But yeah, guys, again, continuous support. Thank you. Please keep it going. 72% of you guys who are watching these videos are not subscribed. Let's change that. It's easy and it's free. And if that's it, let's get right into the video. All right, Shantell. So literally the bullet that I have in my notes is Shantell, and then I have an arrow, and then it just says great in all caps. Shantell is a great cast on this season. I think they did a great job of finding Shantell. I don't know how you find somebody like that, but I think it's great. I think she's a great example of good diversity, and that they found someone with such a unique perspective and such a unique personality, but still also a very, very good player at the game. And overall, I just want to start. So first of all, I want to talk about how she's the overall best player on the season. So I feel like her main competition would be someone like Evie. And I feel like overall, she's just playing the best right now. She has complete control of her tribe right now. She has Ricardo as her easy number one. And I feel like she's the best player on the season by far. She's playing the most dominant game. And really everyone on her tribe thinks that they're her number one, which is super impressive. You usually don't see that. And usually when that happens, it kind of blows up in the player's face, but she got to work immediately. When she got on the island, and it really worked out for her. And nobody kind of saw through the facade that she's actually everybody's number one ally, and it really helped her out in the beginning of the game and just continuing on through the game. And I mean, I have to mention, she's the overall best character on the season so far for me personally, who's still here. I think JD rivaled her over there, but now that he's gone, I think that Shantell really is the best character on the season as well. Obviously, she's opened up to us about how she has her mom and her dad split, and that was a very traumatic experience, with her, having to pick and all stuff like that. But then on top of that, just even, her positive stuff, all her humming thing is amazing. It's hilarious, and it really shows that she knows she's very good at confessional, but she's also, very good just like regular, like just in front of the camera. She knows how to be an entertaining person and knows how to convey her strategy in a way that makes people just kind of fall in love with her as a character. And I feel like overall, she's kind of edged that line between villain and hero very, very quickly, and kind of weaved in between both sides while still playing a very, very, very good game. Speaking of weaving in between hero and villain, she's very multi-layered. She's not just a hero or just a villain. I feel like she kind of weaves that barrier where one moment she's super heroic and everybody on Twitter loves her, and then one moment she's very, very unlikable, and she does something super evil. And I feel like that's what makes her such a fun person to watch, because she's not just inherently good or inherently bad, period, like a hero or just a villain. I also have to say that compared to past female characters who have gotten like this, I have to overcome something, or I have this problem in my life that I'm overcoming out here, like an Aubrey or a Gabby, where like, oh, I'm I need to be aggressive. I'm a strong. She's not getting that. She's just doing it. She's not talking about it. She's just doing it. She's being a strong woman without having to blab about it and say, I'm a strong. No, well, you're not doing it. She's doing it. She's doing it without talking about it. And I find that to be more impressive than the people who try and build up like, oh, well, I have to do all this and I have to overcome this and that. She's not overcoming, she's overachieving for me. So episode 1, we see her immediately do exactly what JD does, but do it better. And that is going to everyone on the tribe and trying to make bonds with everybody and being in an alliance with everybody. JD tries to do it and it comes across very ingenuine, whereas she tries to do it and it comes across super genuine, and it works on just about everyone except maybe Genie. Obviously, we see later on that it works on Brad. Obviously, her and Ricardo are like that. Obviously, her and JD were like that. and that leaves Sarah, the person who she voted out first, who they were also like that, who Sarah said was her kind of like quote unquote number one. And so for that reason, she literally gets 5 people on her tribe, and the person who she didn't get isn't even targeting her. That person's targeting Ricard in Genie. And I feel like overall, her first episode is definitely a very strong episode. It really just showed how much control she had over that tribe. She forms a power trio with Ricard and Sarah, but then blindsides Sarah in that power trio. Episode 2, she really doesn't do much there. I mean, there's not much to touch on in episode 2. I believe it shows them and kind of like the backlash of that, and really just kind of JD and her becoming even closer as number ones. Episode 3, we see the rise and fall of Brad. Jesus Christ, I almost forgot Brad's name there. Brad. So in this episode, we really learn just how much Brad feels that she is his number one ally. Brad is willing to tell her about all these advantages, all like 2 or 3 of his advantages, which is super impressive. On her social game, Brad tells her over a person like Genie, who he should be telling, and it really shows. And I think it shows just how much we're not seeing, and about how good she is playing, that's not making it on screen. And it just shows that everyone thinks that they're her number one, when really her number ones were truly Ricard, really, and I mean maybe JD, but obviously see how that worked out. So she decides in this episode that between JD and Brad is the better choice to axe out from the tribe. And so she votes with JD and Ricard and Genie to vote out Brad. Actually, no, she doesn't vote with Genie. Genie's shocked. But because Brad doesn't have a vote, it ends up being a 3-1 vote. Then in this past episode, with the tribe now dwindling down to Genie, Shantell, Ricard, and JD, it's really between Genie or JD. Obviously, at this point, we've now been secured that her and Ricard are the power duo on this tribe, and she is definitely in charge of that power duo. Ricard is firmly in that second in command spot, and Ricard doesn't seem to want to flip on her at all. And she ends up deciding to vote out JD because she feels like she can't trust him. And this all stems from when she saw JD with an advantage, out of his pants, and then he confessed to her that he did in fact have it. And I forgot to mention that she got him to give it to her once in the Brad boot episode, and then again before he left the island. And so it feels like definitely that that she is very much in control of this tribe, and that she was even able to get JD to give her the advantage before he left. And so it is super impressive, and she axes out JD in this round, leaving her with just her, Ricard, and Genie left on that tribe up until the time that I'm recording this video. So I want to go back through and just discuss why she made the moves that she did end up making. So first, why didn't she keep the power trio? So I feel like she felt like Sarah was closer to Ricard than Sarah was to her, and that she felt like JD was a more loyal ally than Sarah was. And so she went with JD and pulled Ricard with her. And obviously Brad just kind of voted with them inadvertently to vote out Sarah here. And that's why she made that move. I think it was actually the right move, because obviously we saw JD was so loyal to her, whereas I don't know if Sarah gives her, her advantage if she, she's in that same situation, whereas in JD obviously did twice. Then skipping ahead to episode 3, she really has a choice whether or not to vote out Brad or JD. I feel like with voting out Brad here, it takes away all of these advantages. But the issue is, I feel like these advantages Brad was willing to use with her, obviously, because he told her about all of these. Brad was 100% loyal to her and would use these to help her. And I don't think Brad ever blindsides her. I feel like Brad's playing a very loyal game. Whereas in JD, probably would have blindsided her a lot quicker than Brad would have. And JD didn't have as much to bring to the table as far as advantages, as far as advantage wise. And also on top of that, if JD and Brad wanted to flip, Brad couldn't flip because he didn't really have a vote, which gave him less power. Whereas if hypothetically, if JD all of a sudden wanted to flip on her, he could have gone with Genie and Brad and voted her out with his vote. And so it is an interesting situation where she had choices, and that's really the main thing, is that she has choices every single round, and none of those choices are her going home. Next, I want to talk about her relationship with Ricard. So Ricard is firmly in her pocket. Ricard seems to be complacent with being her number 2 ally. I don't know if Ricard is like planning a big blindside, but I really doubt it, because they really haven't built that up at all. And it seems like Ricard is like, if Ricard found an advantage, he would not only tell her, but maybe they would even use it together, or even let her hold it. I feel like whereas in the other people on the tribe, that she's not nearly as close with as she is to Ricardo. At least that's not how she feels. Obviously, Brad probably thought that she was as close to him as Ricardo, if not more, and so did JD. But obviously, she seems to be mainly aligning with Ricardo over anybody else for sure. On top of this, I think that she beats Ricardo at the end, because Ricardo does have like this unlikable type of personality, and so I feel like she is not only aligning herself with a number 2 who is going to completely vote with her at every single tribal, but also if she can bring him to the end, she'll beat him pretty convincingly, unless she just does something stupid at the merge and becomes a very unlikable person. Last thing I want to talk about her overall relationships with each individual person is more of the question mark for on this tribe. Obviously, earlier I said that she has everybody thinking that she's their number 1 except Genie. Now that doesn't mean that Genie's necessarily like this next level player, or that she's necessarily a better player. It's just that Genie doesn't feel like she has that bond with Shantell. And honestly, good on Genie for not being blinded by this like Brad was, but it's also probably because Chantal hasn't like tried to make the effort to make that relationship with Genie, and really she doesn't need it, because Genie is powerless right now. Even if she plays an idol, Genie would probably blindside Ricard, because she doesn't like Ricard, whereas at least Chantal has working relationships with everybody on her tribe, even the people who got voted out. And so I feel like overall people are putting their dislike more on Ricard than they are her. And even if they were to flip on Chantel, it would definitely be to take out Ricard rather than taking out her. Next, I want to talk about taking JD or Genie to the merge. So obviously this last vote in episode 4 came down to JD or Genie. And for me, if I'm making that choice and I'm Chantel, I'm thinking who is going to be more loyal at the merge. And I feel like JD would have been more loyal at the merge. I think Genie has a higher chance to flip if she gets with people who she likes personally, whereas in JD knows that his best shot is going to the end with Chantel, or trying to cut her right before the end, which is probably not going to happen. So probably going to the end with Chantel and trying to beat her. And I think she probably beats JD in that spot, probably, unless the perception of her just isn't the same as what we're seeing as the viewers. But she ends up choosing to take Genie to the merge, because she knows that Genie's less likely to flip on her at the merge, whereas JD, obviously someone who's been very vocal about wanting to make an impact on the game and make big moves. That's not the person who you want to take far in the game with you, because a big move could be blindsiding you. And so I think it's good on her for voting out the person who she feels like is more of a threat to her strategically. Obviously Genie might be less loyal, but it doesn't matter how loyal somebody is if they're going to blindside you at the second vote after the merge. Just ask LJ from Kagion. Next, I want to talk about these scenarios at this next tribal. If they were to go again next tribal, which is probably going to be the last tribal before the merge. So this is their only shot to go again, is if they go again next episode. And so if they do, in Genie, so we see in the next time on Survivor that Genie finds the beware advantage, which, if I'm assuming correctly, it's probably the same advantage that Brad had. And even if it were to get activated and she plays it, and she votes for probably Brad, I would say, and then they both vote for her. Now Ricard. Then Ricard would go home, and then she would be left with Genie, who, even if they again to tribal in the pre-merge, she probably beats Genie in a fire making challenge. Actually, I don't know about that, but again, I don't think that they're gonna let them get down to one person on the Uwa tribe. But I feel like right now, even if Genie has this idol that I think she has, and even if the Luwu tribe also finds theirs, and then Xander's and the person on the Luwu tribe, and then also Genie's gets activated with all like the weird phrases and like the go on astroturf type of thing. Even if that happens, I don't think that Shantell is necessarily screwed completely. I feel like because she has that good working relationship with Genie, whereas Genie does not with have that with Ricardo, Genie would probably go after Ricardo, and so therefore I feel like Shantell is guaranteed to the merge. And if that's the case, from there she has to make bonds with either the Luwu tribe or the Yase tribe. I feel like she'd probably go for the Yase tribe first because she wants to team up with the other small tribe. But I feel like she has options if she gets to the merge, which is actually pretty good. Now, other scenarios if Genie plays an idol here. So if she and Brad decide to vote for Genie, and then Genie plays the idol, but secretly she being Shantell, votes for Ricardo, and then Genie votes for her. Now that's a tie that's not going to be broken, unless they let Genie break it, which I doubt that. Then that's a fire making challenge where I think she actually beats Ricardo, I think, in fire. I don't think she beats Genie in fire, so she cannot be in a fire making challenge with Genie. But if she's against Ricardo, which is probably the most likely scenario, if there is going to be a fire making challenge and there isn't an idol played, then it has to be one of those two. If there's a tie, because there's only two options from there, and I believe that that's a fire making challenge. I doubt that they would do like that someone's out just by default. I don't think that's how it would work. But yeah, so I feel like overall, when you have that scenario, I feel like there's so many scenarios, and most of them involve her not going home. Next, I want to talk about Evie or Shantell. So obviously, Evie's been in complete control of her tribe, and so is Shantell. And earlier on, in like during episode 1 and 2, I felt like Evie was more in control. Whereas in episode 3 and 4, I think Shantell's kind of pulled away from Evie. I feel like right now Evie has a person who's actively going after her in Xander. Whereas, and I feel like there's no one on her tribe that's going to actively go after her. Also, Evie hasn't had to face as much adversity as Shantell has. Shantell's had a much more stressful, first X amount of days, whereas in Evie, I feel like has had less targets on her. Whereas not that Shantell has targets on her, but her allies have been more hard to deal with versus Evie, who has Liana and Tiffany, who are more kind of sheep to kind of just herd to the end. And so I feel like Shantell's game is more impressive than Evie at the moment currently. Also, I forgot to mention, she's going to go into the merge with an extra vote, which is huge, obviously, if she can align with the right people and use it in the right way, because she did have JD's extra vote from the him giving it to her, and then her blindsiding him. And actually, I just want to point out, she did all this damage. Obviously, now she has the extra vote, but previous to her getting the extra vote, she did all of this without any advantages. She still hasn't played an advantage at all, which I think makes it even more impressive, is that she's done this all just through social and strategical game. And just like being able to navigate her tribe very well, which is super impressive on a very small tribe in which there's really nowhere to hide. And even then, she's been able to like stick her chest out and still not be targeted at all. And lastly, I want to talk about her. I just want to talk about her, her chances to win. I don't think she has much of a chance to win. I think she's being set up either to be like your 6th, 5th place or 4th place boot who gets booted right before the end, or like a merge boot who just it's just played such a good game, but they just don't have the numbers. And I don't think she has a chance to win. I think you're looking at other people who have better winner edits, and I think she's gotten too much screen time to the point where she's almost being built up too much. But I do think she's played a great game to this point, and I think she's a great she's a great contender to come back again for another season, along with JD as well, for like a second chances type of season. And I feel like overall, I see a very, very good character and a very good player in her. Whereas I feel like there's people who have been great characters or great players, and she's definitely both. So that's it, guys. What do you think of Shantell? Give me your opinion on her. Do you like her? Do you not like her? Tell me in the comments. And if it's not absolutely idiotic, I'll like it. just to let you guys know, tomorrow we will be dropping the predictions and power rankings podcast, as I mentioned earlier in the video. It should drop, somewhere in the afternoon. Check that out. It's gonna be super fun. It's gonna be super long. So sit back. Maybe get in the car. You could drive to wherever you're driving. You can lay down in your bed, whatever you want. It should be a really, really good listen. And again, guys, thank you for the continuous support. And if you guys keep supporting me, I will keep pushing out daily content. Monday through Saturday, daily content. It's so hard to do, but it's so worth it with a great community like you guys. And again, none of this happens without you guys tuning in every single day. And if that's it, guys, I will talk to you guys in the next one.